Welcome back to the channel, my friends, and today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic coins ever created by the United States Mint, the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Eisenhower $1 coin. This is not just a piece of metal. It is a powerful reminder of America's 200 years of independence, a celebration of history, and a collectible that millions of people still search for in their pocket change, their old drawers, and their family collections. Whether you are a beginner, a casual coin finder, or an experienced collector, this coin has a story that deserves to be told in full detail. Now, there are two major versions that most collectors come across. One is the coin with the D Mint mark, struck at the Denver Mint, and the other is the coin without any mint mark, meaning it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Both coins carry the famous dual date of 1776 to 1976 on the obverse, placed just below the portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower. On the reverse, we see the Liberty Bell placed boldly in front of the moon, symbolizing both America's revolutionary history and its achievement of landing on the moon. This combination makes the bicentennial dollar one of the most meaningful and recognizable coins in modern U.S. history. Collectors always ask about value, and the market today has become very active because people love hunting these coins. Even in fine condition, which means the coin has seen circulation but still has clear details, the price is more than face value. A 1776 to 1976 $1 coin without a mint mark usually sells between $3 and $5 in today's market. The D Mint mark version typically sells for around $3 to $6, depending on where, how attractive the coin looks, and how strong the current demand is. While these prices may not seem huge, it is important to remember that millions of people collect bicentennial coins, and even a common piece can sell easily because buyers love them for their patriotic design. However, there are some things people often overlook. Even though fine condition coins bring only a few dollars, higher grade coins can change everything. If you find an uncirculated bicentennial dollar, or a coin with strong luster, clean surfaces, and minimal marks, the price can rise significantly. There are also special silver-clad bicentennial dollars that were made for collectors, and those can be worth much more. But for the standard copper-nickel coins in fine condition, the realistic price is in the low single digits. Still, when you compare that to regular face value, a small profit is still a profit, and many collectors simply enjoy owning a piece of American history more than anything else. Another interesting thing about these coins is that they were the first U.S. dollars in decades that people actually kept rather than spent. Because of their bicentennial design, many Americans saved them as souvenirs in 1976, which is why so many have survived today. Some people have preserved them in albums, some in drawers, and some in jars mixed with old change. If you find one of these coins at home, never throw it away or spend it without checking its mint mark and condition first. Even a circulated coin can attract buyers because the bicentennial theme is loved by collectors from all around the world. So if you're holding a USA $1 bicentennial 1776 to 1976 coin, whether it has the D Mint mark or no mint mark at all, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look at the edges, look at the surfaces, and try to judge the condition. A fine condition coin might not make you rich, but it still carries value beyond $1, and more importantly, it represents a story worth sharing. These coins remind us how far America has come, from the fight for independence in 1776 to becoming the first nation to land on the moon. That combination of history, achievement, and symbolism is what collectors truly pay for. Thank you for watching, and remember, the next valuable coin could be hiding right in your change. Stay curious, stay passionate, and keep collecting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing coin facts and real market values from around the world. Your support helps us bring you more interesting videos every single day. And when we talk about the bicentennial dollar, we are not just talking about a coin. We are talking about a symbol that connects past, present, and future. Every scratch on this coin tells a story. Every mark comes from a hand that held it, a pocket that carried it, or a moment in history where it exchanged value between people who never realized they were passing down a collectible treasure. That is the magic of coins. They travel silently through time, collecting stories long before collectors ever discover them. So imagine for a moment someone in 1976 receiving this dollar coin as change at a grocery store, looking at the Liberty Bell design, and thinking how special it looked compared to normal coins. That person might have saved it in a drawer, handed it to a child, or simply forgotten about it. Fast forward decades later, you discover that same coin in fine condition, still holding the spirit of America's 200-year celebration. This is what makes collecting so exciting. Even a coin worth a few dollars becomes priceless when you consider the journey it has made. Another important detail collectors love about the 1776 to 1976 dollar is its size. Unlike the small modern dollar coins, the Eisenhower dollar is large, heavy, and feels like a real piece of history in your hand. The weight alone reminds you of older coinage traditions, where coins were not just currency, but symbols of national pride. Many people around the world collect this coin not for its monetary value, but simply because it feels powerful, historical, and beautifully designed. In today's market, prices may rise or fall slightly based on collector interest, but one thing is constant. Bicentennial coins never go out of demand. Year after year, people search for them on online marketplaces, at coin shows, and in family collections. The no-mint mark Philadelphia coin and the D-mint Denver coin both remain easy to sell because beginners love starting their collection with historical pieces, and advanced collectors still enjoy finding coins with strong eye appeal. So even a fine-condition coin, valued between $3 and $6, continues to hold a strong place in the hobby. One of the best things you can do if you find a bicentennial dollar is to protect it properly. Even a simple plastic holder can keep it from getting further scratches. Coins survive for decades, even centuries, when handled correctly. And who knows, the very coin you save today might be worth more in the future as collector demand grows. Trends change, but historical coins always hold significance. Collectors also enjoy comparing different strikes of this coin, looking at the strength of the details on the Liberty Bell, the clarity of the moon, and the sharpness of Eisenhower's portrait. Even in circulated condition, some coins look far better than others due to the way they were handled. A slightly better-looking coin can easily bring a higher value because visual appeal matters greatly in numismatics. And the most interesting part is that millions of people around the world recognize the bicentennial design instantly. It became part of American culture. Even people who are not coin collectors often remember seeing these coins as children or hearing about them from older family members. That nostalgia alone keeps the market alive and active. A common coin becomes special because it represents a shared memory across generations. So if you come across a USA $1 1776 to 1976 coin, whether it has the D-mint mark or no mint mark at all, take a moment to appreciate what you're holding. It is a coin that celebrates independence, honors history, and carries a story that stretches across centuries. And even though the value in fine condition is modest, the true worth of this coin lies in its legacy. Keep it safe, show it to others, and let it remind you that sometimes the smallest discoveries can connect you to the biggest moments in history. And as we continue exploring the significance of this bicentennial dollar, it becomes even clearer that this coin is more than just a collector's item. It is a reminder of how powerful small pieces of history can be when preserved over time. Every year, new collectors begin their journey into the world of numismatics, and almost all of them eventually search for the 1776 to 1976 dollar because it serves as one of the most recognizable starting points. Its size, its weight, and its unique dual-date design make it stand out immediately in any collection, whether large or small. In fact, many seasoned collectors still remember the feeling of holding their very first bicentennial dollar, and that emotional connection continues to fuel demand for this coin decade after decade. Even in fine condition, a coin like this carries a certain charm that no amount of wear can take away. The image of the Liberty Bell remains a universal symbol of freedom, and combining it with the moon was a decision that perfectly blended America's revolutionary past with its modern achievements. That design was intended to remind people that the country had reached heights beyond imagination, and even a worn coin captures that message brilliantly. When you study the details closely, you realize that the artist behind the design wanted every American, and every future collector, to feel a sense of pride every time they looked at it. Today's collectors often discuss not just the financial value, but the emotional and historical value of this dollar. A coin worth only a few dollars on the market can still mean the world to someone who loves American history or has a personal memory attached to the bicentennial year. That is why these coins are consistently traded, gifted, and cherished. They create a bridge between generations, allowing grandparents to pass down physical pieces of history to their children and grandchildren, who then discover the same magic that collectors decades ago felt. And even though the values for fine-condition coins remain in the modest $3 to $6 range, the truth is that the real value comes from the fact that so many people want one. The demand keeps the coin alive in the market, and as long as collectors exist, the bicentennial dollar will never fade into obscurity. In fact, many experts believe that as new collectors grow in numbers through online communities, the appreciation for historical coins like these will only increase. Prices may shift over time as trends change, but the cultural and historical meaning of this coin will remain strong long after we are gone. So whenever you find one of these dollars, take a moment not only to check its mint mark or condition, but also to appreciate the deeper connection it carries. You are holding a piece of a celebration that united millions of people, a moment in history that the United States wanted to preserve forever. And by keeping this coin safe, you are helping that history continue for future generations to enjoy. Whether it's the D-Mint Mark version or the No-Mint Mark Philadelphia Strike, each of them shares the same story, the same legacy, and the same timeless value that collectors continue to admire to this day. And as we move even deeper into the story of this bicentennial dollar, it becomes clearer that its appeal lies not only in its design or its age, but in the shared memory it represents for millions of people across different generations. There is something incredibly powerful about holding a coin that was created to mark a once-in-a-lifetime moment, a moment that the entire nation celebrated together. Even today, when collectors pick up a 1776 to 1976 dollar, they feel a connection not just to the year of independence, but to the millions of Americans who celebrated the bicentennial with pride, parades, and national spirit. It was a year of reflection, excitement, and unity, and the coin was designed to capture all of that in a single piece of metal. Many people who collected this coin in the 1970s kept it tucked away safely, thinking that one day it would become a valuable piece of history. And they were right, not necessarily because of its price, but because of its story and symbolism. Even today, when you look at its wide diameter, the bold lettering, and the striking image of the Liberty Bell overlapping with the moon, you realize that the coin was created with intention. It was meant to remind every American of where the nation began and how far it had come over 2 centuries. The fact that so many of these coins are still passed down today shows how deeply people cherish that moment. Collectors also appreciate how the coin has managed to keep its relevance. Decade after decade, new collectors discover it, old collectors rediscover it, and families continue to bring them out of old jars, drawers, and boxes. Whenever someone finds one, there is always a sense of curiosity. Where has this coin traveled? Who has held it? What experiences has it witnessed? Even though the wear on fine-condition coins sometimes softens the details, the history beneath the surface remains untouched. It's as if the coin has lived a long life of quiet significance, waiting for the right hands to appreciate it. Another interesting part is how this coin acts as a gateway to numismatics. A lot of collectors say that the bicentennial dollar was the first coin that made them fall in love with collecting. There's something about its size, its weight, and its historic appearance that sparks curiosity. People who never cared about coins suddenly find themselves researching mint marks, production numbers, grades, and varieties. What begins as one coin slowly becomes a passion, and everything starts with this simple 1776 to 1976 dollar. And beyond personal memories, the coin also reflects a larger national story. The United States in 1976 was going through cultural change, political transitions, economic challenges, and yet the bicentennial celebration brought people together. The coin became a symbol of unity during a time when unity was desperately needed. Even today, when you look at the coin, you feel a sense of stability, a reminder that history continues forward regardless of challenges. That is the beauty of coins. They survive things that people forget. They outlive trends, governments, generations, and still hold the same message they were minted with. So when you hold a bicentennial dollar, whether it is the Denver D-Mint version or the No-Mint Mark Philadelphia Strike, you're holding more than a collector piece. You're holding a snapshot of national pride, a preserved. Discover it, old collectors rediscover it, and families continue to bring them out of old jars, drawers, and boxes. Whenever someone finds one, there is always a sense of curiosity. Where has this coin traveled? Who has held it? What experiences has it witnessed? Even though the wear on fine-condition coins sometimes softens the details, the history beneath the surface remains untouched. It's as if the coin has lived a long life of quiet significance, waiting for the right hands to appreciate it. Another interesting part is how this coin acts as a gateway to numismatics. A lot of collectors say that the bicentennial dollar was the first coin that made them fall in love with collecting. There's something about its size, its weight, and its historic appearance that sparks curiosity. People who never cared about coins suddenly find themselves researching mint marks, production numbers, grades, and varieties. What begins as one coin slowly becomes a passion, and everything starts with this simple 1776 to 1976 dollar. And beyond personal memories, the coin also reflects a larger national story. The United States in 1976 was going through cultural change, political transitions, economic challenges, and yet the bicentennial celebration brought people together. The coin became a symbol of unity during a time when unity was desperately needed. Even today, when you look at the coin, you feel a sense of stability, a reminder that history continues forward regardless of challenges. That is the beauty of coins. They survive things that people forget. They outlive trends, governments, generations, and still hold the same message they were minted with. So when you hold a bicentennial dollar, whether it is the Denver D-Mint version or the no-mint mark Philadelphia strike, you're holding more than a collector piece. You are holding a snapshot of national pride, a preserved moment from 1976, a link to people who lived through that celebration, and a reminder of how history is carried forward. A fine-condition coin may only be worth a few dollars in the marketplace, but in terms of cultural weight, historical meaning, emotional memory, and symbolic value, it is worth far more than the numbers written in any price guide. And that is exactly why collectors continue to seek these coins, trade them, protect them, and keep them alive in their collections. The bicentennial dollar will always remain one of those special coins that doesn't just sit in a folder. It tells a story every time you look at it. It reminds you that history isn't locked in books. Sometimes it's resting quietly in the palm of your hand, waiting to be rediscovered. And as you continue to look at this bicentennial dollar, you begin to realize that its significance grows the more you think about it. A single coin that passed from hand to hand carries not only the marks of circulation, but also silent memories of the era it came from. You start imagining how many different people might have used this exact coin. Perhaps a worker in the 1970s buying lunch, a family saving it as a keepsake from the bicentennial celebration, or a child who kept it in a small box simply because it looked different from other coins. Every possibility adds another layer of depth to its story, making the coin feel more alive than ever. Collectors understand that value is not always measured in dollars. Sometimes the real value lies in the journey of the coin, in the thoughts it inspires, and in the way it connects you to a time you never lived through but can still feel. That is the unique power of numismatics. It lets you travel through history without leaving your seat. You begin with one coin, and suddenly you're curious about the year it was made, the events that shaped that era, and the people who lived during that time. The bicentennial dollar does this better than most coins because it was created with a purpose, and that purpose still resonates today. There is also a certain quiet beauty in the wear found on fine-condition coins. The softening of the details does not take away from the design. Instead, it adds a sense of character, like the wrinkles on an old photograph that give it authenticity and charm. A perfectly shiny, uncirculated coin may be impressive, but a circulated one has a personality all its own. It reminds you that this coin participated in everyday life before finding its way into your hands. It survived pockets, wallets, counters, drawers, and decades of movement, yet it still holds its identity with pride. As time goes on, the importance of preserving such coins becomes even greater. Newer generations may not instantly recognize the meaning behind the dual dates 1776 and 1976, but once they learn, their appreciation grows quickly. They begin to understand that this coin is not simply a commemorative issue. It is a tool for teaching history, encouraging curiosity, and inspiring respect for the events and sacrifices that shaped a nation. That alone makes the bicentennial dollar worth holding on to, regardless of its market price. Collectors often mention that this coin sparks conversations. Someone sees it in your hand or in your collection and immediately asks, "What coin is that?" And just like that, you begin sharing its story, its design, and its connection to America's 200-year anniversary. It becomes more than an object. It becomes a story you pass forward. That ability to spark interest is something many modern coins lack, but the bicentennial dollar still maintains it effortlessly. That is why it remains timeless. The longer you keep such a coin, the more you appreciate the craftsmanship that went into its creation. The designers wanted it to feel bold, meaningful, and distinctly American, and they succeeded. Even today, nearly 5 decades later, the coin continues to feel relevant and visually powerful. When a design stands the test of time, you know it has achieved greatness. That is the legacy carried by the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar, a legacy that grows stronger every year.